Hi my loves, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video we'll be learning how to make this cute shirt with Ankara fabric. So if this is something you're interested in learning, please keep on watching and let's get right into the video. So for this tutorial, I have about 1 yard of Ankara fabric and 1 yard of elastic band. So because we really do not have much fabric and we don't want to waste fabric, I'll be dividing my fabric into 2 equal parts and I'll be cutting it by 2. So now that I'm done cutting it out, this is what it looks like. Then I'll be dividing it into 2 and working on just one part of it for the front part of my shirt. So I went ahead now to fold my front part by my hip measurements. So my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 6 inches allowance. You can decide to use 7 inches, it depends on you, but for the sake of this tutorial, I prefer to use 6 inches allowance. So I will extend my tape measure by 1.5 inches because of the allowance that we want to leave for the elastic band. So plus the extension that I added up, I'll be coming down by 9 inches because my waist to my hip line is 9 inches. I'll mark that 9 inches, and my crush to my waist is 11 inches. I'll also go ahead now and mark that 11 inches. So the next thing I'll be doing now is that I'll be rolling it all the way around with my straight ruler. I'll do the same thing for the hip line and do the same thing for the crush line. So by the time I'm done sewing, I want my short measurement to be about 16 inches. So now I want to measure the length of my shirt. I'll be measuring 16 inches plus 1 inch sewing allowance. That's going to give me 17 inches. And I'm going to use my straight ruler now to just mark that 17 inches straight down. So now that I'm done marking it around, this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'll be doing now is that I'll be measuring my hip measurements or the hip line, and I'll be using the same hip measurements for the waistline also. So my hip measurement divided by 4 is 9 inches. That 9 inches plus 4 inches allowance is going to give me 13 inches. So I'm going to mark that 13 inches on my hip line and also on my waistline. And now I'll be using my straight ruler now to connect from that point that I've marked on my waistline down to my crush line. So now to get my crush extension, I'm going to be dividing my hip by 4. Then whatever I get, I'll be dividing it by 4 also. So my hip divided by 4 is 9 inches. I'll be dividing that 9 inches by 4, and that's going to give me 2.25. So I'll be placing my tape measure now from that line that I just drew, and I'll be marking that 2.25 on my crush line. So after marking the 2.25, I'll be going in now by 0.7 inches, and then I'll place my tape measure now on the straight line that I drew from my waist to my crush, and I'll be marking 1 inch, and also on this line that is my crush, my original crush line, I'll be marking 1 inch also, and then I'll be connecting all the lines together, the 1 inch and the 0.7 inch, and that's going to give me my crush curve. So whatever it is that I have on my crush line, I'm going to measure it now, and that is what I will use to get how wide my shirt will be. So I think I have about 15 inches now, and I'll measure that same 15 inches on the length of my shirt, and I'm just going to use a straight ruler to just connect the 2 lines. So that's basically all for the front part, and now I'll be cutting it out with my scissors. Just make sure you are cutting out on all the lines that you have rolled. So now that we are done cutting the front part, you'll be placing your front part on the back part. Please, when you are folding your back part, please make sure that it is having up to 3 inches allowance because of the bum allowance. Make sure that it is having up to 3 inches allowance by the side and at the upper part also. So on my crush liner, I'll be extending it by 2 inches. I'll do the same thing for my hip line and for my waistline also. And the next thing I'll be doing after marking those lines now is that I'll be using my chalk now to just rule out my new crush line for the back part. So after drawing out my new crush line, the next thing I'll be doing now is that I'll be extending this middle part. I'll be extending it by 2 inches upwards. So I'll mark the 2 inches now and just use my chalk now to extend my crush line at the back, my back crush line, to meet that 2 inches that I just marked. So I'll go ahead now and just place my straight ruler and use it to just rule a slant line from that 2 inches extension to the front waist. So now that I'm through with the waist and the crush of the back part, I'm going to measure the same 2 inches that I used to get my crush measurement to get my crush extension for the back part. I'm going to measure that same 2 inches all through the leg of the back part. So that's basically all for drafting of the back part. You can see how simple it is. So the next thing I'll be doing is that I'll be coming in with my scissors and I'll be cutting it out on all the lines that I've ruled. So now that I'm done cutting it, this is what I have for both the front part and the back part. So I'll just be splitting the 2 parts open now with my scissors. So now that I'm done splitting it out, you're supposed to also have 4 fabrics on your table, 2 for the back part and 2 for the front part. So I'll go over now to the sewing machine now and connect my 2 cross line, the back cross line and the front cross line. And now that I'm done joining the 2 cross lines together, this is what it looks like. This is what I have. So the next thing I'll be doing now is I'll be cutting out the pockets for the 2 sides. So I'll place my tape rule now and I'll be marking 1 inch, and from that 1 inch that I have marked, I'll be extending it by 7 inches. I'll mark that 7 inches also. Please make sure that the fabric for the pocket is on full. So now I'll be placing my palm on the fabric and I'll be using my chalk to just connect it all the way around. Please make sure it's in a curved form, just the way your fingers are. Just make sure that you follow the pattern of your finger and just use your chalk to just connect it all around. So this is what I have when I was done connecting my own. Please make sure that yours is also like this. The next thing we'll be doing now is that we'll be cutting it out. Please make sure that you are cutting it out on the exact line that you have ruled out. So now that I'm done cutting my pocket for one side of the shirt, I'm just going to be folding another fabric that is at the same size of the first pocket. So now I'll just place the pocket that I've already cut out on this other folded fabric and I'll just be tracing it out with my scissors. There's really no big deal to this. Just place it and just cut it out. So now that I'm done cutting out, this is what I have. You're supposed to have 4 curves for your pockets all together. You're supposed to have 4. So now we'll be bringing back our shirt. So what I'll be doing now is that I'll be coming from the waistline. This is the back pattern. This is the back. So from the waist line, I'll be coming down by 1 inch. I'll mark that 1 inch and that is where I'll be starting the stitching of my pocket from. I'll mark that 1 inch now. Then I'll be placing my pockets now, one side of my pocket. Please make sure that it is right sides facing each other. Make sure that you are placing it right sides facing each other. Then you just pin it now with your pin. Please make sure that you pin it with your pin so that it does not shift. So this is what your pocket is supposed to look like when you are done pinning it. This is what it is supposed to be looking like. So you repeat the same thing for the other side of your shirt. Remember that this is the back part. You will do the same thing for this part also. Come down by 1 inch, then bring your pockets and make it face your fabric, right sides facing each other, and pin it. So you bring your front part and also do the same thing that you did for the back part for the front part. And the next thing you'll be doing now is that you go over to the sewing machine and just stitch it with about half of an inch. You'll be stitching it down with half of an inch on your sewing machine. So now that I'm done stitching the front pocket and the back pocket, this is what it is looking like. I'm sure that yours is looking like this also. So the next thing we'll be doing now is that we'll be joining our front part and our back part by the side. So the back part is usually bigger than the front part. So when you place the 2 fabric right sides facing each other, make sure that you use your hands to just align it together so that one side is not bigger and the other side is smaller. So make sure that you arrange it together with your hand. So this is how we are going to be stitching it. You see that 1 inch that you extended before placing your pocket, you are going to stitch that, then you will sew it around. You are going to exclude the opening of your pocket, because if you stitch that, you are going to be stitching your pocket. So you just stitch that 1 inch, then you stitch around the pocket and you just also stitch down the leg of your pants. You do the same thing for the other side of the short also. So stitch the 1 inch that you extended before placing your pockets, stitch around the pockets and stitch the legs of the pants. So now that I'm done stitching, this is what it looks like. You can see that my back and my front part are now joined together. I can put my hands in my pockets and this is how neat it is looking. So the next thing that you want to do now is to join the 2 ties together, the 2 from the crotch part. You just place the 2 legs the inner thigh part, the two inner thigh, you place it together and just go over to the sewing machine and sew it with about half of an inch. So now that I'm done joining the thighs together, this is what I have. You can see that my short is gradually taking shape. So to get how long, how wide our elastic band is going to be, you are going to bring your tape measure now, and you'll be measuring what you have all the way around on your waistline. You measure it all the way around. So when I was done measuring mine, I had about 55 inches. So that 55 inches, I'll be adding just 1 inch to it, and I'll be cutting out 56 inches. So my elastic band, the band I cut out for my elastic casing is about 2 inches wide and 56 inches long. So the next thing we'll be doing now is that I'll be working on the elastic casing. So I'll be joining the two ends together, right sides facing each other. I'll be stitching it down by 1 inch at the top. I'll leave 1 inch at the middle, and whatever it is that I have left at the down part, I'll be stitching it down. So the reason why we are leaving this 1 inch at the middle is so that we'll be able to pass our elastic inside the elastic casing. So now that I'm done sewing the two ends together and also giving it a good press, this is what it is looking like. So the next thing we'll be doing now is that we'll be joining this elastic casing to our shirt. So you'll be folding your elastic casing into two. Let the two sides be equal, please. Then you bring back your shirt now and just pin it on your shirt, right sides facing each other, and then take it over to the sewing machine to sew it with about half of an inch. Pin it on your shirt and take it over to the sewing machine to sew it down with about half of an inch. So now that I'm done sewing the elastic casing and the shirt together, this is what it is looking like. So the next thing we'll be doing now is that we'll be passing our elastic inside the elastic casing. So to get how long your elastic is going to be, you are going to measure your waist measurement, and whatever it is that you have, you'll be deducting 2 inches from it, and that is what you'll be using to get how long your elastic will be. My waist measurement is 25 inches, and the elastic band, the elastic that I'll be using for this short, is 23 inches. So bring your safety pin now and use it to pass in your elastic inside your elastic band. So when you are done doing that, you will be joining the elastic band. You will sew it at the end so that it does not shift. So when I was done sewing it, I made sure that I spread the elastic around the short so that it does not stay on just one side and the other side, and my short is looking kind of funny or the bad. So make sure you use your hand to spread the elastic around your elastic band. So now our short is almost ready. So the next thing we'll be doing now is that for the two stitching line that is around the short, you'll be coming down from your elastic band. From your band, you'll be coming down by 0.5 inches, and you'll be going over to the sewing machine to just sew that 0.5 inches all the way around. I'll be showing you guys how I'll be doing my own, because as you are sewing, you are supposed to be stretching your elastic band with your fabric. So please pay attention to what I'll be doing now. You'll see that as I am sewing, I am stretching my elastic. Basically what I'm doing is that I am stretching it out so that my elastic and my band is the same length when I am done stitching the elastic. You know, the elastic is shorter than the Ankara fabric, so I am stretching it out so that when I am done stitching, it is looking accurate. It is not as if my elastic has finished and I still have excess Ankara fabric. So I'm stretching it so that both the elastic band and the Ankara fabric are the same thing when I am done stitching. So now that I'm done stitching it all the way around, this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'll be doing now is that I'll also be stitching for the second line. Also, you know, we have two lines on the waistband. So I'll place my tape measure on the down part of my elastic band, and I'll be coming up by 0.5 inches, and with that 0.5 inches I'll also be stitching it all the way around, just the same way that I stitched the first line. So you'll be stitching down the second line the same way that you stitched down the first line. So what I'll be doing now is that I'll be sewing in the down part of my shirt so that it will be neat. I'll be stitching that in, and when I was done, this is how beautiful my shirt is looking like. I've stitched down this other part, I've stitched down the second line. You see that I'm having two stitching line on the elastic band now, and I've also stitched down the down part the the legs of my shorts, and this is what it is looking like. So you might want to go ahead now and give your short a very good press. And now that I'm done ironing and done with everything, this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful this short is looking. So that will be all for this tutorial. If you found this tutorial helpful, please do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and share to your friends. Till I see you all again in my next video. Bye.